Right now, we're in the midst of World War III, the files are still missing, and aliens are real. So I went to go see Disclosure Day, directed by Steven Spielberg, because 1, it's about aliens, and 2, Spielberg is a top 10 director of all time who's had plenty of experience with aliens. Yet I was left so disappointed from this new installment. Maybe because I was expecting a great blockbuster hit by the GOAT himself, and instead was given a bright match that fizzled into ash for a grand finale of nothing. I used to believe in aliens as a kid, and now that I'm an adult, they're either demons or it's Project Bluebeam. And so I was intrigued with how giddy Spielberg was in his interviews about this film. Like, he put some real world knowledge about aliens, something that we don't know about or just haven't seen. He just put it in the movie or something along those lines. And many would go see this film specifically for Spielberg alone, but given that the film is also about aliens and how our government just came out saying that they're real, it's brought a lot of people to the theaters, including myself, and since yesterday, it's already made close to $100 million and is expected to make a profit from its $115 million budget. But is the movie even good? The story follows 2 people who are connected to a bigger plot to expose the government's knowledge of aliens. Daniel, who is a reformed hacker that works with Ward X, a deep state government contracting firm, and Margaret, who is a meteorologist who begins experiencing bizarre abilities after an encounter with a weird cardinal. The story follows 3 point of views: Daniel's, Margaret's, and the firm's, Ward X. And the film focuses on the ideas of what the truth is, how it would affect us if we knew, and whether or not we would even accept the truth, let alone take the truth for what it is. Spielberg is a master with the art of filmmaking, and it's shown with the pacing of info that he gives to the viewers. He doesn't leave it all out in the first 10 minutes of the movie, or narrate it for a 5th grader to easily follow. Instead, he gives little bits of information within each conversation, then he cuts to another point of view, keeping the viewers hooked, wondering how the rest of the story is going to unfold. This single tactic alone keeps viewers focused on the storylines as well as each character, and with Emily Blunt and Josh O'Connor headlining this film, they really chose the right cast for the right director. There's also something magical about Steven Spielberg working with John Williams that feels like they were meant to work together forever, and John Williams himself is 94 years old, still working with his friend. A man can only dream. This goes to show you the power of Spielberg and who would step out of retirement just for him. Spielberg has worked with many GOATs in many of his films, each with different genres. So I wasn't surprised to see how objectively well made the film was, but I was very surprised at how lackluster the adventure was. What I love so much about art is how there's both objective and subjective perspectives to them. You can objectively say something is bad, like the movie Spider-Man 3, but if you liked it for whatever reason, then you subjectively liked it. And with that being said, objectively, Spielberg has some crispy shots in this film that reminded me of who this man really is, and how he shows every aspect of a person and their setting, compared to the rapid cutting and close-up action scenes of today's standards. Spielberg blends in the lack of information with the pacing of his films, like how he paced the mission of Saving Private Ryan, where the squad was given little to no information about a single soldier in all of Europe after D-Day. But with more and more info they gain throughout the mission, the closer they get to Private Ryan. The film's pacing was a slow burn into a grand finale, but that grand finale never came. And with this type of pacing, it heavily relies on the grand finale hitting that mark like a Quentin Tarantino film. Instead, all the build-up was for a cringy 5-minute session of a finale that genuinely made the whole film feel like a waste of time. I was upset because I really enjoyed the movie, but the ending left me wishing it was more layered in the alien conspiracy stuff, and there was a weird but great moment of a somewhat sleeper agent of sorts, and I wanted to see if they brought more of that back into the film, but they never do. I thought this was a big mistake, alongside the main villain. The firm itself felt like Netwatch or like Militech from the Cyberpunk game, but the one leading it, I wish he gave more of a fighting chance against the protagonist, and that finale would have had a much better impact if that was the case. John Williams is the GOAT of composing peak soundtracks, we cannot deny that, But for this film, it didn't have its own identity. Now, I've watched Jeremy Jahns' review of this film, just like many others have, and I agree with this take completely. It has his classic style, but absolutely no personality that separates it with the Star Wars or Indiana Jones soundtrack. It didn't have its own theme, as Jeremy says. I also noticed there wasn't really any epic action scenes except one, but it was quite minimal compared to Spielberg's other works. The negatives were the finale, the lack of a villain, and how shallow the film was in exploring extraterrestrials and the ideas or conversations about them. It was a masterful director given a very comfortable genre to work with, and with his retired best friend even showing up for him, and the decades of experience they both have had together, Spielberg makes a film that runs, but in the end it falls flat on its face right before the finish line. There is only one real conversation about religion in this entire film, and after showing what is a legit sleeper agent, they never use that plot line again in the entire film. It was as if that was the hardest aspect of making this film, and then they decided last minute not to dive any deeper than those individual moments, which ultimately gave this film its shallowness. I would have loved to see more use in the sleeper agent stuff, more complex discussions about religion, and other conspiracies being linked with the extraterrestrials. Maybe more uniqueness with the aliens as well. They were literally the same regular 4-foot-tall gray aliens that we've seen plenty of times before. But I digress. If you don't know how I rate films, I do a mix of it all. I will do a Letterboxd rating of 1 through 5. My Letterboxd account is linked in the description below. Please go check that out. I'm also going to do a classic rating of 1 through 10, a tier ranking of S through F, and who this film is for. So for my Letterboxd rating, I'm giving this a 2 out of 5. For my classic rating, I'm giving this a 4 out of 10. And if I had to rate this film with every other film in the world, I would put this at the middle or bottom of D tier. This movie is like Super 8, but way worse. It felt like the movie Sunshine, where the first 2/3 of the film is excellent and you're invested. Then the final third shows up and it turns the film into a totally different genre where it sucks you right out of the film, out of the adventure, and back into reality. If you like aliens, people acting weird, John Williams, conspiracies that never get addressed, Steven Spielberg, CGI animals, Emily Blunt, then this film is for you. I was quite disappointed in this film, specifically the ending. I would call this a good bad film as well. Some good, some bad. All in all, quite the letdown, and for that, it's more bad than it is good. So what did you guys think? Do you guys believe in aliens or Project Bluebeam or maybe even something else? Did y'all see that Trump post with the Nords? I thought that shit was funny as hell. Let me know what you guys thought of the film down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Take care, everybody, and God bless.